You might think the worst pain is betrayal, but it's not. The true agony is feeling her lips on yours when they've just belonged to someone else, holding a body that no longer truly belongs to you, and not even realizing it. Many men rationalize her distance, telling themselves it's stress, fatigue, or the monotony of daily life. But the truth is far harsher. Women rarely confess, yet they always reveal. And if you miss the signals, you unknowingly become a participant in your own heartbreak. That's why today, on the Reflective Psyche, I'm going to uncover 8 signs that reveal a woman who has recently slept with someone else. Signs most men ignore until it's far too late. And the final one, well, it's the nail in the coffin, the sign she can't hide no matter how hard she tries. Before we dive in, take a moment to subscribe, hit like, and comment where you're watching from. Betrayal has no borders. It speaks the same language everywhere. Let's start with the first sign. Subtle, silent, yet devastating to men who fail to recognize it. 1. The cold silence of her body. There's a silence that doesn't come from words. It comes from her body. If you've been close to a woman long enough, you know the electricity in her touch, the warmth in her kiss, the way her body reaches for you without asking. And you also know when that current dies. It doesn't announce itself, it whispers. You lean in for a kiss, and she turns her face just slightly. You touch her shoulder in bed, and instead of melting, she stiffens. She says she's tired, but her body doesn't feel heavy with exhaustion. It's heavy with indifference. Here's the truth most men don't want to admit. When a woman has been fulfilled elsewhere, she returns not hungry, but satisfied. And satisfaction leaves no room for you. It's like trying to light a fire that has already burned out. No matter how many matches you strike, the wood stays cold. The mistake is denial. You tell yourself it's stress, age, or routine. Attraction doesn't fade with age, it shifts to another source. If she once drew you close after work, but now rolls away, that isn't routine. That's a signal. Your response? Don't beg. Don't chase. Observe. Pull back and see if the distance naturally shrinks or widens. A woman who still desires you will eventually reach out. One who's given herself away will let the silence grow. Recognizing this loss is painful, but also liberating. Once you stop lying to yourself, you stop wasting energy on a flame someone else has already extinguished. 2. The cleansing ritual of her body has been with another. She doesn't walk through the door smelling of betrayal. She smells fresh. Too fresh. A new perfume, a longer shower, freshly changed clothes, underwear switched midday. At first glance, it looks like self-care. But beneath that surface is a deliberate cover-up, a ritual to erase traces of another man. Why? Because the body tells stories. Skin retains smells. Hair remembers contact. Clothes carry memory. She scrubs, sprays, and hides evidence under layers of soap and lavender. And the irony? The harder she tries to erase, the louder it becomes. Change is the key. If she never cared for meticulous hygiene before, but now it dominates her routine, pay attention. Don't dismiss it as self-improvement. Patterns matter more than absolutes. Awareness is everything here. 3. The blame game when guilt grows too heavy. She won't admit it. Instead, it transfers to you. Minor irritations escalate. You unload the dishwasher wrong. You talk too much. You talk too little. Whatever you do, it's never enough. That irritation isn't random, it's strategic. It's her subconscious way of managing the guilt she can't confess. Instead of facing her own choices, she projects the tension onto you. The key is not to respond with anger or frustration, but to observe and recognize the shift. Here's the psychology behind it. When she paints you as the villain, she doesn't have to feel like the betrayer. She rewrites the story in her mind. In her version, she didn't step outside the relationship because she wanted to. She did it because you were inattentive, controlling, or somehow lacking. This is projection at its most precise and sharp. She can't handle the conflict inside herself, so she pushes it onto you. The trap most men fall into is defending themselves. You argue, explain, reason, thinking logic will solve it, but you can't outlogic guilt. The more you defend, the more ammunition she has to keep casting you as the bad guy. Before long, you're walking on eggshells in your own home. Here's the shift: stop playing defense. Winning an argument won't restore your dignity, but refusing to be manipulated will. The next time she snaps at you over something trivial, don't rise to the bait. Don't beg. Don't debate. Simply meet her eyes and say calmly, you don't need to fight to justify what you've already decided. Step back, not out of weakness, but out of strength. That one move flips the dynamic. When you refuse to play the role she wrote for you, her script collapses. The weight of guilt lands where it belongs on her. You reclaim your emotional ground. Many men ask, but isn't staying silent weak? No. Weakness is letting someone bait you into chaos. Strength is control. You're not ignoring the issue. You're refusing to be manipulated by it. That difference separates a man being drained from a man standing tall. But projection isn't the only mask. There's another battlefield where the truth emerges without a word, where no excuse can hide it, and that's in her body. For the body doesn't lie. A woman can rehearse excuses, mask moods, polish stories until they sound convincing, but her body cannot lie. And this is where most men betray themselves, not because they can't see, but because they refuse to look. You know her rhythms, her warmth, her reactions. When something shifts, you feel it, even if you resist the truth. Maybe she's unusually tense or strangely relaxed. Maybe her responsiveness has changed, either exaggerated or absent. Sometimes subtle, sometimes glaring, but never random. You don't need a degree in psychology to notice. You need honesty. Men often rationalize hormones, stress, fatigue. And yes, these things happen. But sudden, uncharacteristic changes? They demand attention. Ignoring them is the fastest route to humiliation. A body that has been with another carries an imprint, not always visible, but always felt. Ignoring it only lies to yourself. So, what do? First, stop running from your intuition. Let yourself register what feels off. Second, stop overcompensating. Men often respond by trying harder, more affection, patience, effort in bed, as if giving more will reclaim what's gone. It won't. Desire cannot be forced back by effort. It must be recognized when it has left. Practical step: instead of chasing her body, step into clarity. Scale back intimacy and observe. Don't accuse. Don't interrogate. Just notice whether the change is consistent. Awareness is your shield. It prevents wasted energy on someone who has already detached. Ignoring it isn't strength, it's fear. True strength is facing what you already know, even when it burns. But guilt doesn't always manifest as coldness. Sometimes she covers cracks with the opposite: excessive warmth, affection, tenderness, almost too perfect. 5. Excessive affection, the theater of guilt. Not every betrayal feels cold. Sometimes it comes wrapped in kisses, hugs, and sudden sweetness. And if you're not careful, you mistake it for love. You sense her slipping away, then suddenly she holds your hand again, kisses your cheek, whispers, "I love you," with tears in her eyes, and your heart wants to believe it. But this is not a return to desire. It's a return to self-soothing. Her affection isn't for you, it's for her conscience. After crossing a line, many women don't pull away, they pull closer, not because of renewed desire, but because guilt must be silenced. Touching you, cooking, kind words, it's a performance, not intimacy. The mistake men make is taking this as a second chance. You relax your guard, breathe relief, and in doing so, hand over leverage. You become the comfort toy while her passion burns elsewhere. How to navigate this? Test the source. Ask, does this affection come with consistency or only after unexplained absences? Does she touch with desire or obligation? Lean in with warmth or with rehearsed exaggeration? Those questions cut through the fog. Don't reward guilty affection. Don't let her wipe her conscience on your shoulders. You don't need hugs born of betrayal. You need honesty, even if cold. Sometimes the strongest thing to say is, I'd rather have your silence than your guilty embrace. That isn't for her, it's for you. It's reclaiming self respect in the face of false tenderness. Real love doesn't require theater. Genuine connection isn't revealed only after guilt. If her affection feels like an apology instead of desire, you already know the truth. And if you accept guilty affection, the next stage is worse. Her body remains, while her mind drifts miles away. 6. Emotional absence and intimacy. There's a stark difference between a body beside you and a soul with you. Once you've felt it, you can't unfeel it. This is where betrayal cuts deepest. She gives her body, but not herself. Picture this: bed, touches, movements, even moans. On the surface, all seems normal, but her eyes are empty, her energy detached, her presence somewhere else. This isn't intimacy, it's theater. A woman emotionally absent during intimacy has already gone. You're participating in a cover up. Men often rationalize tiredness, stress. But tiredness and stress still allow presence. Absence leaves a void. The mistake? Pushing harder. More affection, more patience, more effort, hoping to win her back. But desire isn't missing, it's burning elsewhere. Every extra effort teaches her she doesn't need to give anything back. Solution: stop chasing ghosts. Notice when her spirit isn't with you. Pull back. Say less. Don't confuse physical participation with emotional presence. When her soul has left, your job isn't to drag it back. It's to decide whether you'll keep lying in a bed growing colder each night. Next time you sense that absence, don't try to cover it with more effort. Pause. Look at her. And in your mind, tell yourself the truth: I'm not here to beg for connection. I'm here to recognize reality. That shift alone changes everything. It stops you from being the man trying to revive a bond that's already been buried. Because being next to a woman who isn't truly with you isn't love, it's humiliation. And if you allow that humiliation to settle, the next sign will expose it in plain daylight. She won't just leave you emotionally absent in bed. She'll start leaving you physically absent in your life. 7. Late returns and empty excuses. When love is real, time bends to make room for it. A woman who still desires you will find her way back, even on the busiest days. But when the fire is gone, suddenly the clock becomes her enemy. She's late again and again. Every excuse feels thinner than the last. Work ran long, her phone died, a friend needed her. At first, you want to believe it, convince yourself that life just gets messy. But when messy becomes routine, it's no longer about circumstance, it's about priority. You're no longer at the top of her list. Here's the psychology: lateness is more than missing time. It's a test. She isn't just running late, she's measuring how much you'll tolerate. She's checking if you'll question it, push back, or accept less while hoping for more. Each time you let it slide, you train her. You teach her your dignity is negotiable. The trap most men fall into is silence. You notice the pattern, feel the sting, but swallow it. You tell yourself, if I say something, I'll seem insecure. But insecurity isn't asking for respect, it's pretending you don't notice. So what's the move? Call it what it is. Not with yelling, not with begging, but with boundaries. The next time she drifts in late with another flimsy story, don't interrogate. Don't demand details. Simply look at her and state the truth. You weren't here, and that tells me everything I need to know. Then let the silence sit. That silence is more powerful than any argument because it places responsibility where it belongs on her choices. Practical step: track the pattern, not the excuse. Don't dissect every detail. Watch frequency, tone, and your gut reaction. Patterns tell the truth even when words don't. A woman who still chooses you will return home. Maybe late occasionally, sure, but not habitually. If she no longer returns, it's because she's already returning elsewhere. 8. The collapse of her stories are fragile. They can be polished, rehearsed, repeated, but when pressure builds, cracks appear. And when a woman has crossed the line, her story eventually collapses under contradictions. You've seen it. She comes home late, words tumbling out too fast, details shifting with each retelling. One night, it's a coworker needing help. Next, it's a last minute errand. Timelines don't match, tone doesn't match words. Most telling of all, her eyes. They don't hold your gaze. They dart, drop, flicker with unease. That's not stress. That's deception struggling to maintain balance. Here's the mistake men make: they demand airtight evidence, a smoking gun. But the truth doesn't come with a receipt. It comes in inconsistencies, in the way her story unravels the more you listen. The harder she tries to control the narrative, the more obvious it becomes that it's slipping away. So, what's the move? Stop playing detective. You don't need a courtroom trial. You already have the signals, the silences, the shifts, the patterns. When her story collapses, don't argue. Don't beg for confessions. Decide, I don't believe you and I don't need to anymore. That's not accusation. That's a boundary. Here's the empowering shift. Once you stop demanding explanations, you reclaim your power. You stop chasing clarity from someone who thrives on confusion. You become the man who sets the line. And the line is simple: respect or nothing. Practical step: practice quiet recognition. When her story starts wobbling, don't fill the silence with questions. Let it fall. Don't rescue her from her own contradictions. That silence is your ally. It exposes what words are trying to hide. You don't need to scream cheater to reclaim your dignity. All you need is clarity and the courage to act on it. When her story collapses, the truth isn't the issue anymore. The only issue left is your decision. Will you continue lying to yourself, or will you stand for the man you know you are? That's the final cut. After seeing all 8 signs, the real question isn't whether she betrayed you. The real question is whether you betray yourself by staying blind. These 8 signs aren't about turning you into a paranoid detective. They're about opening your eyes so you stop betraying yourself. The harshest betrayal isn't what she does in secret, it's what you allow yourself to ignore in plain sight. The goal wasn't to catch her red-handed. It was to reclaim your dignity, boundaries, and power as a man who refuses to settle for less than he deserves. These signs are warnings, signals that something is off, something must be addressed, and ignoring them costs self-respect. Not every sign guarantees betrayal. Sometimes distance comes from stress, fatigue, or years of miscommunication. That's why your job isn't to accuse, it's to test, observe, and confront reality. Repair what can be repaired, reset boundaries, fight for connection. But if the evidence stacks, if every sign confirms what your gut already knows, the most masculine move is to walk away with your dignity intact. Love is never worth trading your self-respect. Here's the challenge: identify one situation where you've ignored your instincts, coldness, constant irritation, or inconsistent stories. Face it. Decide whether it's a solvable problem or the end of the line. That decision belongs to you, not her lies, not your fears. Before you go, subscribe, hit like, and share this with a man who refuses to see what's right in front of him. And in the comments, share your story. Have you noticed one of these signs? How did you handle it? Your experience could be the wake-up call for another man before it's too late. This isn't the end, It's the beginning of reclaiming what's always been yours: your self respect, clarity, and freedom to choose love without losing yourself.